Okay, guys, second half of 2.2 that I want to talk about is a different form for the equation of a circle. And it's kind of a not as fun one. It's not as easy to graph generally. Okay, so here's our center radius form of a circle. Suppose I were to expand these and to multiply everything out. I'd get to something like this. Okay. So why am I doing this? Well, we get down here, I move the r squared over, and I'm just grouping up certain things just so I'm going to be able to get kind of a formula out of it. Okay, so I'm going to call negative 2hc, negative 2kd, and h squared plus k squared minus r squared e, and it's all going to be equal to 0. What we call this is the general form for a circle. For some real numbers c, d, and e, x squared plus y squared plus cx plus dy plus e is equal to 0. And this can have a graph that is a circle, a point, or it can be non-existent, okay? You're going to get a circle, well, I guess it'll be easiest to show you, okay? You're going to get you're going to get a circle when your radius is positive. You're going to get a point when your radius is 0, and if your radius is negative, of course, that would be non-existent. So the idea here is if we have an equation in this form, we want to put it back in center radius form. And you know what's going to help us do this is our good old handy completing the square, okay? So let's look at this first example. It says decide whether or not each equation has a circle as its graph. So I'm looking at this. It kind of looks like it's in that form, but I want to put in the nicer center radius form. It's much easier to graph then. I know what the circle looks like. Just looking at this, I'm not quite sure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to group up my x's, okay? And I'm going to group up my y's, and I'm going to move the 16 to the other side, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I want you to notice that we can complete the square twice. Once for the x's, and now I'm going to put an A under the x blank, and once for the y's. So minus 6y plus blank, I'll call that blank b. And I can do that, I can add a and b to this side as long as I do it to the other side. So this is negative 16 plus blank a plus blank b. So I'm going to complete the square twice. So remember what we have to do to complete the square. I have to divide this by 2 and square it. So I get a 16. That's fine as long as I put a 16 here. And right here, this is a negative 3 squared, a 9, and a 9. So remember how this works, okay? This first part is going to factor as x plus 4 squared, right? Plus y minus 3 squared. Remember the negative 3 follows down straight to here. And that's going to be equal to 9. And all of a sudden, look, there's our center radius form. And that's the equation of a circle with radius 3. Okay? So I could say, yes, this is a circle. It has center. I can see it's negative 4, 3, right? I know it's negative 4, 3. It's the opposite of the signs in here, right, because of the formula. And it has a radius of 3. So this is a circle. Okay. So notice all I did was I grouped up my x's, I grouped up my y's, and I completed the square twice. And then I got into that nice center radius form. So generally, we don't want general form. We want to get to center radius form. Let's do one more of those, okay? B, x squared plus y squared plus 4x plus 4y plus 8 equals 0. So let's go ahead and go through this. I'll group up my x's. I'm going to put that blank A. And I'll group up my y's. And I'll put that blank B. And I'll move the 8 to the other side. But of course, if I add a blank A here, I have to do it here. And I have to do the same for the B. So notice I have that same sort of setup. Now I'm just going to complete the square twice again. So this is going to be positive 2 squared is 4. And that's fine as long as I throw a 4 here. And I have the same sort of situation here, it looks like, right? So this is also going to be 2 squared is 4. So I'll put a 4 here as well. And once again, I know this is x plus 2 quantity squared plus y plus 2 quantity squared. That's going to be equal to 0. So what is a circle with a radius of 0? Well, it's not a circle, it's a point. No, the graph is not a circle. It is the point -2, -2. Next, I want you to think about, and you'll see this in the homework, what if that was negative? That's the non-existent case, okay? So that wraps up 2.2. Go through those. If there's any specific ones giving you trouble, make sure you ask me.